little donkey. And today I'm coming at you again with another one, but this time a different one, because today I have a very special guest. We're riding with my ride or die, my pops.
Before I am through, I wanna be yours, pretty baby, yours and yours alone. I'm here to tell you, honey, that I'm bad for.
And riding with a very special bike. He's rocking that M109, and of course, as you already know, under me I have that sweet, succulent tangerine Zook. Today's video I feel like will be very informative because I have people who write me in all the time, at least men, that are really big, overgrown, and they're just like, hey, I can't really find a bike to fit on. You happen to be writing into the right person because I have an overgrown father. And he had a very hard time finding a bike in which he could fit on. Dude is 6'5". Wanted something sporty, but cruiser too. And this is what the M109 looks like. It is seriously badass. He knew that he didn't want a sports bike, but he knew he didn't want a heavy bagger bike either. He started looking at bikes in which he could actually fit on. That's what it got narrowed down to. It wasn't about aesthetics. It wasn't about power. It was what can he actually fit on. As a 6'5" male, 230 pounds, it's a little tough. Because he would sit on a Harley and he would make the Harley look like a tricycle. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there, they're going to be like, that is not a first-time rider's bike. But y'all, this is the first bike he's ever owned. You want to ride a motorcycle and you're too big to ride on anything else, what are you going to do? So for anybody who knows that they do not want a sport bike, and they don't want a Harley because you can't afford it. I mean, let's face it, with a Harley, you're just paying for the name. And Harleys are great bikes. I know so many people who have them, but the problem is they're just really expensive. But at the same time, you don't want a big like bagger. You don't want to be like a big cruiser bike. The M109 is a perfect bike because it's a muscle cruiser. It has that sporty look to it. It has a lot of power and torque. But it doesn't look like a, you know, if you don't want like a big bagger bike, it doesn't look like that. So you kind of get to meet halfway in the middle in terms of price, aesthetics, and power. Now, we're not talking about bikes in which you know, should start on. We're talking on bikes in terms of how big you are and the only choice that you have to start on. That's the difference we're talking about today. So all the people are like, oh my God, that's not a starter bike. Just stop, okay? Because at what point do you look for the right starter bike, or do you look for the only bike that you could pretty much fit on and be comfortable on? Sure, I know there's a lot of tall, heavy people that ride, you know, maybe 1000s, but how comfortable are they? And each person's different. So the biggest thing that he didn't want, and his chief complaint with a lot of bikes, even with Harleys, is he felt like his feet were right up underneath him. And for a guy that's got really, really long legs, you don't want to feel cramped. Now later on, I'm gonna get on this bike and I'm gonna ride it. I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie, because Doc is 500 plus pounds with the full tank. That bad boy, it's like 750 pounds dry. So I'm going to be going up in weight class, not to mention a totally different position. Now everything on his bike is pretty much stock. Like I said, you can see where his feet are at. It's nice and comfortable. His legs aren't right underneath him. His feet aren't underneath him. So he says when he rides this bike, you know, he doesn't cramp up. Of course, after long rides, like with any bike, you know, your hip flexors are going to start burning. Your back is going to start hurting after hours on a bike. But we can go for pretty long rides and him not really feel any type of cramping or feel like he's got to readjust. And And that's the great thing about the Busa too, is for me, I'm 5'9", and so being on the Busa, I'm able to definitely stretch and lean forward. The bike's back tire is big. It's a 240, and it's its stock tire. 240 is a stock on the back of this bike, and that being big of a tire makes this bike very hard to turn. So because of his height and his weight, he says that plays in a valuable factor for him, in which helps him control and lean the bike. I think if you were a smaller person like myself, when I get on this thing, I'm gonna have probably a tough time getting on it and leaning it. But the bigger you are, probably the better. Man, that's a big seat for a big donkey. Oh man, it's finally time to try this thing out. I specifically wore my camos today just in case I drop this big bitch. Nobody will see, hopefully, because I'll be camouflaged. Whoa, shit. It's kind of heavy. The key is down here. Isn't that weird? All right. Whoa. Okay, my initial impression is everything about this is weird. I'm super nervous. Real talk, I had a nightmare about riding this thing last night, and everything just went totally wrong. It was definitely a screamy, dreamy. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. All right. Just got to remember where to put my feet. Really different. All right. I'm doing good. Whoa. Okay. Man, this thing sounds like a fucking chopper. I mean, it's a really big bike. This thing is huge. Woo! Okay, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I'm doing good. Okay. I don't know about for you guys, but anytime I'm on a new bike that I've never been on before, I always feel like I'm a brand new rider. I mean, all of my senses are completely heightened. And that's not to say that I feel complacent on the Busa. I absolutely do not, but at least I'm comfortable with it. And being on this bike, I absolutely feel brand new in every sense of the word. Counter steering, the leaning, the changing of gears, all the actions and concepts are the same. But the applications of it feel completely different when you're on a cruiser versus a sport bike. And I think that's primarily contributed to the position that I'm sitting in. But I can absolutely feel the amount of torque underneath me in this bad boy. If you're a big person and you really pretty much have no other choice but to get a large bike in terms of size and cc like this, one safety modification my dad has on this bike, which I'm sure when he becomes a little bit more comfortable he'll take off, but his power commander in the back is programmed to limit the amount of air mixture with the fuel, essentially limiting the amount of power that goes to the rear wheel. So when you are in first and second gear, coming out of those gears, you're not going to go like balls to the wall, you know what I mean? It's definitely limiting the amount of power and taming that so you can have a more comfortable, smoother, and safer ride when you're first starting to learn. Now, I can see why it would be easy for a really large person to handle this bike. But I think anybody who's shorter than maybe probably 5'7", or at 5'7", you're going to have a hard time with this bike, and here's why. I have no problem flat-footing it. That's not the issue. But my arms are fully extended. I mean, hyper-extended. I'm leaning, I could lean forward, but that's not, I don't think that's the appropriate position for this bike. and I can flat foot, but I don't have really enough leg length to be walking this bike. If I had to walk it like forward, I'm gonna have a fucking serious hard time. So I think that if you're probably shorter than me, you're gonna have even a harder time. And when I put it in third, I can really feel that power band. Third, fourth, fifth. That is awesome. I'm feeling it big time. It's so throaty. It's smooth. When you're going, it is smooth. There's no issue on it at all. I'm not as shaken up when I first started. I'm already starting to get really comfortable with it. You know, Doc is going to be upset with me when I say this, but I'm telling you right now, I'm really feeling this M109. I feel like a badass. I feel like a Terminator.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
I feel like I'm going through these small towns and I'm the fucking mayor. I can honestly see myself riding this a lot more, and I know Doc is gonna be like, you fucking floozy, but I totally love this. And so many people ask me, well, B, what's the next bike you want to get? Well, I'm always gonna keep Doc no matter what, just because he's sentimental to me at this point. I'll never sell him. But I definitely want a dirt bike and an F4i. And I honestly never, ever, ever, ever in a million years thought that I would ever want a muscle cruiser. But this shit is having me feeling some kind of way. Let's listen to the Freedom exhaust on this thing. Oh man, that thing is so sexy. You know what they say, loud pipes save lives. Just like thick thighs. I'm sorry guys, I just had to. I need a rep, you know, I need to represent my people. I just feel like I'm riding a missile, like a muscular missile though, like not a fast one, but just like one that once it hits your target, it's gonna really like blow up some shit. That's kind of what I feel like. Being on this bike for a person who's never ever been on anything other than a sport bike before, I have to say I'm proud of myself. But moreover, I'm even more proud of my dad learning how to ride on this. He's handled it beautifully. He's done a great job. He's been very respectful of the bike, and he's coming along just fine in his learning capabilities with this machine. And so I say that, man, if you're trying to find something that you want power, you want beastie, you want some beastiness, you don't want to look like a royal candy ass, man, the M109 might just be for you. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I can't believe how much attention this bike gets. Like, I am totally blown away. I thought Doc got a lot of attention, but shit. This bike is a straight attention getter. I cannot believe it. Well, I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. You know, maybe for my sport bike riders who are looking to cross over to a cruiser, or for my first time riders who are just absolutely overgrown but can't seem to find a bike that they can comfortably fit on. I think the M109 is a good choice as long as you make some, you know, safety modifications to it, which is reversible. You can take it off whenever you want. But anyways, until I see you next time, and until this M109 sees you next time, Donk is out.